It's drilled to left field. Is it high enough? See ya! A walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win.
And he drives one to right field over toward the line. Long run for Laureano, and he runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Episode 66 of The Burrows, the return of Michael Merlo. He was gone last week. We're finally back doing this week, deadline week. It maybe is the biggest episode in the history of baseball podcasting. Monday of deadline week, Thursday, 6 p.m. is when the deadline actually hits. Mike, you're bringing good vibes back with you with the Mets. That's where we'll start. Your vacation in North Carolina, your feeling on the Metropolitans. Where are you all over right now?
Feeling great, nice and relaxed, rejuvenated. Left North Carolina, and I was thinking to myself, well, they only lost one game while I was out of New York.
Mm-hmm.
So now back in New York, I was a little nervous. Maybe they're going on a losing streak here, but no, they've won 2 straight now since I've been back. That has absolutely nothing to do with it, and they're playing some really good baseball. I had texted you when they swept the Angels. I had said, they're playing pretty uninspiring baseball right now, but they were able to get a few wins, and that's all that matters because they were in a cold stretch and they weren't playing well. Now, this weekend, they were playing some inspiring baseball that makes you feel good about this team going forward.
Really quickly, before we dive deep into this Mets week, 2 weeks, and really this deadline for the Mets, what happened to the Giants? Because we were sitting here on the Devers night, right after he got traded, we went live, and we said, this is the move that moves them from fringe team to, this is a contending baseball team in the National League. And we don't think they're just some wild card exit now that's going to have a nice, surprising regular season. All the moves that Posey has made are starting to backfire. Adames does not look great. Devers has not been good. Verlander's awful. He's finally hit that point in his career where he's just not a productive pitcher anymore. And now all the good vibes for the Giants are completely gone. And when we play buyers or sellers later on in the show, they're an interesting team at this point.
I don't think it's interesting. I think they are on one side. They should be on one side because they need way too much. They need 2 starters, maybe 3 starters. They could use some help in the bullpen, and you can make an argument they need a bat. They went 0 for 23 with runners in scoring position this weekend against the Mets. So you can make the argument they need a bat as well. Nothing going right for them right now. I don't think they should buy. This team has a couple of pieces you could sell off. They're playing uninspiring baseball. I don't think they're very good. And it's shocking, considering where we were when they traded for Devers to now be talking about them in this light.
You'd say right now there are somewhere between 6 to 9 teams that are definitely better than them in the National League. Probably 7 to 10 teams, actually, that are definitely better. It's just what a surprising downfall that the Giants have had this year after that Devers trade. And then the Sox went in the opposite direction, but we'll talk about all of that in the American League later when we do Yankees stuff. But where do you want to start with the Mets here? We got a lot of pitching to talk about. Mauricio, insane game. Gregory Soto, your guy, ends up with the team. You've been talking about that on this show for months. So where are you wanting to start here? I'll let you have that.
I think we start here with Mauricio and the kids and who would you trade, who wouldn't you trade in terms of Vientos, Beatty, and Mauricio. You've heard the rumors about Robert and how the White Sox would want Vientos as a return. I don't think you could trade Mauricio at this point. I really don't. I was having this argument with a couple of friends this week. They had asked, where do you see Mauricio? What's the comp? And the easy comp is Elly De La Cruz for some people. And I was not willing to go that high. I was not willing to say, I don't think his ceiling is Elly De La Cruz. I think it's closer to an O'Neal Cruz. And I got some heat for that. And then you watch last night's game and you're like, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's a little farther away from what O'Neal Cruz is.
But even if it is O'Neal Cruz, I actually like that comparison before last night. It's not O'Neal Cruz gets more hate, I think, because he's supposed to be the best player on the Pirates. He was supposed to be and marketed as their guy that was going to come and be a big bat for them and a great defensive player, and he's not either for them. But Mauricio, if you do get O'Neal Cruz with hopefully a little bit better defense at third base, you're
Which
pretty
is-
happy with that in the bottom of your order if you're the Mets.
Right, and 100% you're getting better defense. You're getting better defense at second. You're getting better defense at third. So, like, I didn't think I was taking a shot at him.
No, absolutely
didn't-
not. But that's what I'm saying. Like, people look at Cruz as a worse player than he is because he's supposed to be better in Pittsburgh.
Yes, and listen, he's been shopped around. The teams have called on him. Nice comment here. I was very sad to miss that. Very sad to miss that.
Huge success.
Yeah, that was a big day at Citi Field. You see the crowds they got for those games against the Angels? I mean, you knew you were getting it out of the break, David Wright weekend, and then you get those crowds for an Angels series in midweek. That was impressive. That was very impressive.
Last time we did this show was the day before Wright's retirement, that Friday, and we had said, I asked you, if Lindor doesn't get named captain, are you disappointed? And he didn't. But now it doesn't matter. But, like, were you surprised that he didn't?
I was a little surprised that he didn't. You know, as I was watching the ceremony, I started to think to myself, maybe they're not going to do this. Howie Rose had brought it up on the radio broadcast on Friday when Keith Radd had asked him about his thoughts on it. And Howie was so adamantly saying no. Where I was like, okay, Howie would know. You know, Howie would be in the know on this.
Yeah.
So I kind of tampered my expectations after hearing that. But with the way Lindor was playing, this is completely overreactionary and fan, craziness. Good, because he was stinking up the place, and he did not deserve to be named captain.
Yeah, no, the numbers have been tanking the last 6 weeks, but he didn't deserve it. They lost that game too, but I do think that at the end of the day, just looking back at it, it would have been like a fun thing to talk about before it because of how much Mets fans love Lindor, how much Lindor really deserves that recognition, and he gets it whether he's the captain or not. But it was David Wright's day, and he's the best position player in your franchise's history. For our generation and the generation older than us, he's an incredibly special player in the history of our baseball lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it was better to just give Wright his day. And then Soto almost gives you the most special ninth inning homer in that game.
I thought that was gone. Everybody
did. He did too. David Wright thought it was gone too, up in his box.
Yeah, David Wright was probably a few beers deep at that point, but yeah.
No, he's the man.
He is. I got a problem with this comment here. I have a problem with this comment here. Because for years we fought fans. We fought different fan bases about our attendance, even when there were some good years. And this franchise struggled with having consistent attendance. And this is the first year in a very long time where this team hasn't dealt with that, where the attendance has been unbelievable. So you know what? I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to feel good about that and celebrate that.
And you're one of the good Mets fans that show up at the park every year.
All the time. I mean, I haven't been to as many games as I'd like to this year, but I'll be there on Sunday.
But you were there last year a lot in a year that was embarrassingly low attendance for a really good team in the second half of the season. I mean, last year in late August, September, they couldn't get fans there on weeknights, and they were the best team in baseball.
And I was there. I was at one of the games. I was at the game where Steve Cohen called out the fan base. It was a midweek game against the Nationals, and they were fighting. They needed these games, and they killed them 10-1. Acuna hit a home run, and he called out the fan base. Only 25,000 people there.
Yeah, that was bad. That was some bad stuff. Merlo there too much, no such thing. You're there for 81 games. You were there a good amount.
Come on. I'm not there that much. I haven't been there this year.
Never there too much. Mets, where were we? So Mauricio, can't trade him. Agree with that. Totally agree with that. At this point, he's the guy out of the three that I'm riding with the rest of the year. I'm open to trading Beatty or Vientos for the right arms, but Vientos for Robert, I don't listen. This is a weird topic for me. This is a weird hypothetical for me because if you ask me who contributes more to a potential Mets World Series this year, Vientos or Luis Robert, I'd say Luis Robert because if you get a little bit of that upside, not the player he was when he was at his best, but just a little bit of upside in it, then you're going to get more than Vientos is going to give you. But if I'm the GM, I'm saying no. It's a weird trade proposal.
You have to think about the future here because you do have 4 years left of control with Vientos, and then you have Luis Robert, who I'm not 100% sure on the contract. There's options, I'm pretty sure, coming up.
It's a club option in 26 and 27. Both of them are $20 million a piece, and you're not picking up either of them, obviously.
Well, if you trade for him, if you trade Vientos for him, you have to pick it up. I mean, you have to.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't want to. So I don't want to pick up Robert for $20 million a year.
Do you think the White Sox, if they keep him, pick up that option?
No, I don't.
You think he's going to be a free agent?
I think he's going to be a free agent, and that's why I think he's definitely going to get traded for something, because I think the White Sox are going to get to a point at the end of the week where asking for Vientos, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but then why dig your feet on Vientos?
Well, right now they're going to, because they still have a few days left until the deadline. But if they call Stearns at 4:30 on Thursday and say, listen, we've made no progress with anybody, we just want to get rid of Robert here. We're not bringing him back at the end of the season. We want your 45th prospect in the farm system. He's a single A guy that you guys don't love. We got to get rid of Robert.
I have a better guy. I have a better guy in center field.
Who do you got?
The return of Harrison Bader. Bring him back.
Yeah, Giuseppe brought that one up, and I like that idea.
Go bring him
I really
back.
do.
And you know what? Make it a bigger trade. Go get their setup man, Griffin Jacks.
Yeah.
Make it a bigger trade. Send a decent sized prospect. You get a setup. You get a guy that could be your setup man, seventh inning guy, and your starting center fielder for the rest of the year, where you feel comfortable penciling him there every day defensively. And his bat has been really good this year. He's at a 767 OPS.
And he's going to be comfortable with the Mets. There's no worries about him coming to play for a contending team. Tyrone Taylor, I could not have been more right about. Hate to say it, seems like a good dude, but awful, just terrible. Sad. 558 OPS this year. He's got a 260 on base. Just there's nothing productive. It does stink that they lost Jose Siri, because I think there was a platoon potential there.
Yeah,
that would have put you, but it would have put you in a situation where you're at least saying, we don't need this position, but we'd really like to upgrade it because we like the defense we're getting there, and he's given us some pop, but they're getting no production from the position at all.
Well, I still think they could say that, but they could justify and say, you know what? We're going to play McNeil in center field. We're going to give Mauricio second base every day. We're going to give Beatty third base every day, and we're going to platoon Marte and Vientos at DH. I think there's a serious chance that happens if they are not able to work out a trade at center field, which I think is going to be difficult.
If I'm David Stearns, I'm trying to get Beatty and Taylor out of the lineup every day. Sorry to the Beatty lovers. He's got a 290 on base percentage.
Beatty, come on. He's doing a good job. He's doing a good job.
I want Mauricio at third, and I want a center fielder. Bader would be one of the guys that fit the mold.
I like Bader. I really like Bader. And I like Griffin Jacks. I like the idea of that. That's the trade I would make. And I think that's the trade they're going to make. I was right on Siri and on Soto, and I'll be right on this.
Minnesota still hasn't gotten active yet in this trade market.
They're going to.
5 games under 500. I think they have the best collection of players for a team to get really rich in their farm at this deadline.
And no Byron Buxton leaving. That
no
was
Byron
sad.
Buxton leaving. Yeah, he was the perfect guy.
Do you agree with this though? Because I do see the need to at least get rid of one of them. If you're going to make a trade and get a center fielder, you probably have to get rid of one of them.
The only way I wouldn't get rid of one of them, I agree with it at the core of it. I definitely agree that they have to get rid of one because it's too crowded and there's too many similar producers in this group. I don't think Acuna is going to be a really good major league player.
No,
I know he's athletic. I know what he gives you.
He's not valuable at all.
Exactly. So the only worry I'd have is those guys aren't going to get me a better deal. I'm just throwing them in to get rid of them. And then I'd say, let me find a team in the offseason that actually values one of these guys for a low-level bullpen arm that I can get back. Just a good mop-up kind of guy that I can get back in a trade, because I don't want to get rid of any of the 4 of them just because I want to open up space at in my youth in the minor leagues and on that fringe roster spots. Like, I don't think that's worth it either.
Yeah, like I think I would move Beatty. I would move Beatty or Vientos today along with another prospect if you were able to go and make that trade with Minnesota. Do Beatty and another top 10 prospect.
Then you have this. You can easily trade Mauricio. He's nothing special, but the problem with trading Mauricio now is I think even before last night, because I was telling Mike that I said this yesterday morning, even before last night, he looked like the best overall baseball player of the three, Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio. He looked like the best overall baseball player of that group right now, and the Mets just need to keep a guy like that in the bottom of their order for the rest of the year playing infield for them, and he's a good first bench bat if that's what he is for you too.
He showed a lot of promise. I mean, he's the one that has showed the most juice, the most pop out of the three of them, especially this season, and more so than Beatty that I think Beatty's ever shown. Obviously, Vientos had the year last year. We know about it, but in terms of this season, I don't think it would be the right move to trade him because he's also good defensively. He's not a bad defensive player.
No,
and he can play three positions in the infield.
Yeah, he's a pretty good athlete, so you want to keep him around.
I don't disagree that all of them are movable. They're movable. Mauricio's movable for the right price. I understand that. I just don't know if I would do it. I don't think I would be shopping him around. If somebody called and said, hey, here's the move, and it's something you can't refuse, okay.
But then it also comes back to, I spoke with Will Thompson about this last week, and you and I have spoken about this before that, but at a lesser level. We mentioned it with guys like Spencer Jones, like mid-level prospects that organizations might be really high on, but I'm not comparing these guys to those guys, but when you look at the market and the guys who are available and the amount of teams buying, is it worth moving any of those four players? This is what Stearns has to ask himself for the deal I'm getting, because I'm probably losing value on an upgrade.
Well, you're going to be overpaying in this kind of market for sure. I think it also, it's bigger, it's louder because these players have been in the public eye, not only with the fan base, but kind of the rest of the league here because they were top prospects and they've made their major league debuts and they've showed signs at the major league level. So it's a higher profile trade, but in reality, Stearns just has to look at it from a baseball perspective. And if he believes that it's worth it, there's value there, then he has to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Stearns does, because I think the one potential flaw of Stearns, and again, potential flaw, I've praised him on this show, so don't take it the wrong way. The one potential flaw of Stearns, I don't know if he's willing to lose on trades. Like, I don't know if he's willing to, he's so value oriented with the roster construction, with the pitching, with their prospects. And he was this way in Milwaukee too. I don't know if he's willing to say, I think that hypothetically, like I think Suarez would make us the best team in baseball, but I'm massively overpaying for him. I don't know if Stearns is ever going to be willing to go that route. I don't think most GMs are willing to go that route anyways, but I don't know if he's going to be that guy. So I think he has to get value back on his deals in his mind, or it has to be even.
There are certain times though, when you're in, and they're not there right now, but 5-6 years from now, maybe that when that move is obvious and you have to make it and you might be getting ripped off, maybe he has to make that move. There are certain times for that move, and we're going to talk about the Yankees and whether or not they should make that aggressive move when we talk about them. And I don't know if it's the year. I don't think it's the year for the Mets right now to do so.
Yeah, I could agree with that. It's an interesting week for the Mets because, you're right, there's not that guy. And how many times have we mentioned it here? There's not Max Scherzer and Trey Turner available. There's not Juan Soto available in a trade. Suarez is so flawed, and he is definitely the best player available on the market right now. And Joe Ryan would be second, but is he even going to get traded? Almost a definite no from me that Joe Ryan's not going to get traded. He's going to stay in Minnesota. So it's a really interesting deadline. I'm curious to see how it plays out and how aggressive teams actually are, because I don't think teams are going to get these big hauls back. So I think buyers are going to get scared away by prices and the flaws of the players that they're acquiring.
If you were the Mets, would you add another starter?
Yes, I definitely would. And that was another thing. And we just segue right into it. Like, you tweeted it yesterday, but Clay Holmes, he's losing steam here. And their starting rotation as a whole is losing steam. I don't trust guys to eat innings in this rotation. And as great as they were in the first half of the year, I'll stay with the point I've been making for the last 2 months. When we get to the NLCS, which is the goal for the Mets, is to win the NLCS and be better than they were last year. I don't care what anybody wants to say to me. You should be focused on being the best team in the National League right now. And they are. But when you get to the NLCS, I do not trust the Mets' arms in big games against the Dodgers or against the Phillies or against the Padres right now, or the Brewers or the Cubs. Those are going to be the 6 teams. I just don't trust them more than any of the other teams. I might trust them as much, but you're telling me you have a pivotal game 6 where you're down 3-2. Zach Wheeler could be pitching in it. Yamamoto could be pitching in it. Any of these studs could be pitching in it around the National League. Who are the Mets' real options besides if Manaea gets rolling again like he did last year, which I think he's going to? But who are their real options that you feel great about? I think they need one more, not even top 2 guy, but just one more innings eater, true starter to give him some flexibility down the stretch.
Manaea's looked really good, and I trust that as soon as he's built back up, he's going to be that guy from last season. We've seen the swing and miss stuff. Peterson has been, as close to an ace as you could possibly get, if he's not already. Senga, innings, he throws too many pitches, he gets into too many deep counts, but when he's on, there's not many pitchers in the league better than him. My questions and my concerns do come now with Clay Holmes and whether or not they need to move him to the bullpen or not, because he throws way too many pitches and he has no out pitch. He'll get to 2 strikes constantly and cannot get the strikeout. He either loses you, gives up a hit, or it's a ground ball pop fly. And a lot of deep counts, a lot of foul balls. He's looked hittable. So if they said, hey, we're going to go get a number 3 or 4 starter here, and we're going to move Clay to the bullpen, I don't think that would be the worst move in the world.
I think that, the 5 pitchers that I'm really curious about at this deadline, I think any of them would fit the Mets, but they're all completely different guys. It would be Charlie Morton is a really interesting name because he has righted himself this year after just a really miserable first 5 starts in Baltimore. Yeah. But he has shown signs of being able to be competitive again. Mitch Keller's really interesting at this deadline because he's, I think, the best starting pitcher that's actually available, assuming that Ryan is not available and that Minnesota's going to keep him. Because Keller, you're getting 3 years of control. It's like $50 million total. That's a real bargain for the Mets. You get the guy moving forward too. And then you have Gallen and Kelly. I think Kelly is a guy that I could see with the Mets. Gallen, I don't think is good. So I don't want to go there with Gallen. And then the 2 Marlins guys, Cabrera and Alcantara. I don't think Cabrera is going to get moved because the Marlins are fairly competitive and Cabrera's still got a little bit of promise. But Alcantara, they have to move because
I agree.
If they can, he's so bad. But I can see any of those 6 guys with the Mets.
I don't think Cabrera gets moved, and I actually don't think Alcantara gets moved. I think they can wait, see how he pitches the rest of the year, and do it in the offseason.
Mm-hmm. Do you see his? And sorry to cut you off, just to go to Sandy for a second. His numbers, I don't know the exact numbers. His numbers with men on base are, whether it's first base, second base, third base, no matter what, overall men on base he's like the worst pitcher in Major League history with men on base. Really? And his numbers with no one on base are insane.
He's unhittable.
Unhittable until he lets up that walk, which he's doing too frequently, or that single, and then he's just imploding with men on base.
That's insane. That's nuts.
But it's literally like his clean innings are 1, 2, 3, and when he lets a man on, it just starts pouring.
I had a really bad take. The beginning of the season, he looked unbelievable in spring training. Like the stuff was just there, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna get moved for a Soto-esque package. And I couldn't be more wrong on that. I mean, I think they'll still get a decent amount. Obviously, nothing close to what they got for Soto, but he's just, it's a tough year. The injuries have killed him, and it's a tough year for him. I think Merrill Kelly makes a ton of sense for sure. I didn't have Joe Ryan down on the list. I put Sandy on, and Charlie Morton. I thought Charlie Morton makes a lot of sense for this team. So I don't think it would I wouldn't be mad at Charlie Morton.
Like Dylan Cease, I don't think makes sense
No,
because
I
I
don't think they're gonna trade
wouldn't do it, and I don't think the Padres are going to trade him. And if they do, they're not helping out the Mets with the trade. They're not helping out an NL contender by giving them Dylan Cease. So that would be more of like a Red Sox or Blue Jays move if he was actually to get moved. But yeah, I
see
agree
how
with those,
badly
those
you see how badly they want Duran.
Oh yeah, they're like desperate for him.
They're doing it. They offered Salas, Cease, like that catching prospect, the young kid.
And Boston is not totally budging right now. Boston's in a unique spot with him because I don't know if it would be perceived as a sell to get rid of Duran because he's really not a huge part of your future right now with Rafaela, Anthony, and all the young outfielders you have. But at the same time, he is a good player, and you're 7 games over 500. The clubhouse might look at him being traded as a sell. And as like,
I don't know how you could do that. I don't know how you could do that.
I don't either.
I'm sorry.
I don't think.
I would not do that. I've never bought for a second that they were actually going to move him.
I thought they were going to, and right after the Devers trade when they were floating around 500 for 2-3 months, and they didn't seem like they were going to be in the playoff race. But now the last 3 weeks, there's no way they're trading him because it could just send the wrong message to your team and botch a lot of the mojo they have.
Just go back to Merrill Keller quickly. He's going to be 30. He's 36 this year. He's a free agent after next year, so he's a rental. If you could go send, I don't know what you would send, but Merrill Kelly would be a really nice move for the Mets.
Mitch Keller is really intriguing because you have the 3 years of control, and he's going to garner a top prospect because of the control. But is his actual body of work worth a top prospect? Like if he was a rental, I don't know if it would be, but it's interesting from a Mets perspective. You can get a guy that you're just locking down for a few years to eat some innings. And
he's your 3 or 4 starter for the next few years.
Yeah, and Stearns never has to worry about it. And you're also getting him at a good price point in every one of those seasons. So it fits Stearns' usual agenda.
I would wonder what the cost. I'm looking up the exact contract right now. I just wonder what the cost would be.
Would
it be Mauricio and a top prospect?
It's 3 years, $55 million, and then whatever that is over, annually.
What do you think the package to get him looks like, though?
I don't know, because I've been thinking about Yankees packages. I'm trying to think for a Mets package. What does that look like? You got to give position players to Pittsburgh, you'd imagine. Because I've been saying for the Yankees, like if you want Mitch Keller, and I'll go more into this later, but if you want Mitch Keller, you probably have to give up Spencer Jones.
I mean, his next 4 seasons, next 3 seasons, he's making $16, $18, and $20 million. That contract runs out. He's 33. I don't know if Stearns is going to lock himself into something like that. That's the issue.
Yeah. It's tough.
And this is a great point. This is a great point here. Yeah, I don't think he's locking himself into a pitcher like Mitch Keller for years and years and years when you have Manaea and Senga here for a little while and Peterson and then the next trio of guys in McLean and Sprout and Tong. It's a great point. I don't think he's locking himself into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's Kelly makes the most sense out of all the guys.
Kelly or Morton make the most sense.
I wouldn't touch Gallen. I wouldn't touch Cease. I wouldn't really touch Sandy. I don't think that Cabrera is going to get moved once again. But yeah, Kelly and Morton are the 2 guys that we're going to have to watch for.
I think Gallen makes even more sense than going to get Keller.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't touch Gallen because I don't think he's good. He's not good. He's not a good pitcher.
Gallen, the analytics on him say that he could even be worse than his numbers say. So that's where you have a real issue. Whereas Cease, for the teams that want him, he's the most unlucky pitcher in baseball analytically. So Gallen's the opposite, where you're really worried about him just not being good anymore.
Dude, I don't know if we're going there now. But your baseball team?
Yeah, we could go there. I don't have anything else with the Mets.
it's been laughable the last few days, man. The last
been
couple
really
of weeks,
bad.
it's been laughable.
It's
The
been really
highlights,
bad.
the lowlights that I've seen on social media, it doesn't get worse than that. I mean, they are one of the worst defensive teams I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
They're the worst above 500 defensive team I've seen in a really long time.
Because I know that they have these issues every year, right? That's the thing, is like Boone's Yankees are never fundamentally sound, but this is a new level.
Yep.
This is really bad because now Volpe's been bad this year defensively. McMahon should be a massive help.
Yeah.
He should be a huge upgrade. Rosario won't be defensively, but yeah, it's really bad because you just it really is that when it rains it pours feeling, because you had Bellinger make the big error in right field, losing the ball against Toronto. Goldschmidt with the throwing error. Weaver doesn't cover first on that play. Like, these are good defenders that are now being almost sucked into this black hole of just a terrible defensive team that's just taking everyone with them. It's been really bad, and it furthers why Jason Dominguez has really had trouble getting consistent run this year. I know the other guys have been great in Grisham, Bellinger, and Judge. They've been their three best outfielders, but you just can't put the liability in left when you already have the liability at short, the liability at third all year. Now liabilities at second and first, because even Chisholm has not been great
Has not been
coming
good.
back to second. You can look at his overall year as a defender, and the numbers are worse than I'd say he is because he was bad at third base, but still at second, he has not been great. So they're all over the field just struggling, and their pitching is so bad. This is the worst collective group of Yankees pitchers at this point in the season I think I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, is Heel even coming back? Like, what's the deal with Heel?
Well, he had the rehab start last
year?
week. He had a rehab start last week and gave up 5 runs in an inning. And I just don't know. Like, there's no word now. I think he's made 2 rehab starts now. There's no word on whether or not they're planning to get him up soon.
Okay.
So it could be one of those things that in 2 or 3 days, Boone's like, yeah, Heel's pitching on Saturday.
And answer this question for me. Judge is not playing right field for the rest of the season, correct?
Probably. I'd guess no. I'd guess he's not.
So he's going to have to be the DH for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think that's going to be what happens.
So you're worse defensively, a lot worse defensively now with Judge not playing right field.
Yeah, that's why the Yankees, I was going to bring this up before, Bader's too good of a bat, but they intrigue me. I think Rosario was the move, though, just to add an extra like outfielder utility guy, but they intrigued me whether or not they were going to go for another defensive outfielder, because Dominguez cannot play late game in the fall.
No.
I don't know. Like, I don't know that this is easy to say.
Well, he's missing the minimum 10 games, but he's in a DH. Like that, we know. We know he's coming back to DH.
I don't think you can play around with this injury and him going back to right field. I think maybe he plays it a little bit in September, but I'd be shocked if he plays it consistently at all the rest of the season.
I mean, I was just genuinely asking because
I don't think he's
sure.
gonna this year. Because why? Also, if he was just gonna miss the 10 days and then go right back to right field, why would they bring up Stanton playing defense?
Yeah.
Because now you can already see Boone is thinking of ways, and the organization's thinking of ways to get Stanton and Judge in a lineup where Judge is DHing.
Let's see here. I'm going to look it up on Twitter.
But nobody said yet whether or not he's going to do that. But would you rather just DH him and play it safe the whole season than losing him for 12 months?
Well, are they going to lose? Like, Dominguez had the surgery. Dominguez had the surgery. He was out a while.
He was out a while, but he came back in DH. It's not like a pitcher missing time, but he came back in DH in AAA the next season or AA the next season. But like Harper, way late in the next season.
Remember Harper had the surgery really late. Right?
Yeah, Harper got it late.
And he missed some time, but it wasn't a lot of time. I mean, they moved him to first.
Yeah, and I don't know if Judge can play first.
Well, I
think they're two very different athletes.
It sucks that you were even going to have this conversation, because I had this conversation last night. Like, when is he going to be a first baseman? And it's crazy because you probably had at least 3 years of him still being a very productive right fielder defensively.
Yeah.
And if he does have to have this surgery, it's going to be that process is going to be sped up a little bit.
Well, I don't think he's going to have the surgery. I think it is a strain. That's what it sounds like. It is a strain, and it might need some more time to heal than you think before you have to put him in right field. But they got to play it safe. I saw this. I got to try to find it now. But I saw this tweet about Yankees position players to get Tommy John since it was in the Aaron Boone era or since the year before he got here. But it's not like well, I'll just let you have your opinion. But if I could find it again, it was about the players to get it, and they had like 7 guys have gotten it, and they're blaming the organization for that.
For the Tommy John amongst position players.
It's 4 guys and then a couple pitchers. But the 4 position players are Didi Gregorius, Aaron Hicks, Jason Dominguez, Everson Pereira, and then people were thinking it's going to be Judge also. And then they had the Clark Schmidt thing they're getting blamed for because apparently Schmidt told them he didn't feel great and they still threw him.
Right.
But are we like, can you really blame the organization for 4 position players blowing out their elbows?
No, I mean that just feels like freak chance injuries.
And Judge is lobbing balls in on Friday night against Philadelphia. Just lobbing them in from right field.
Yeah.
And you wonder, like, did he really express to them? I don't know. Did he really express to them that he could not throw the ball?
You saw it Wednesday night when he like winced at the throw in Toronto. And then I didn't notice it Friday night. You're saying you noticed it. I didn't notice anything Friday. I watched most of that game.
Well, I didn't notice it until the day after when people were posting it. Because there was one sequence in the 9th, but the game was already over because they got teed off on in those last 3 innings.
Yep.
But there was one sequence in the 9th where the bases were loaded with 1 out, and there was a ball hit to the corner, and he gingerly just lobs it to the cutoff man, which is not characteristic of Judge, but we weren't paying attention of it live on Friday because they just gave up 12 runs in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad one.
Yeah, that was really bad. Bullpen's really bad.
Can't beat the Phillies. Yeah, they need a couple. They need how many pieces would they need in the bullpen? I mean, Cruz isn't a guarantee to come back. Is Leiter coming back at all? I know you don't even
hopefully
like him.
not.
Okay. Like how many moves would they need in the bullpen? Because you don't even know what you have in Weaver right now because he's been so bad.
So if I were running this deadline for the Yankees, I would go get 2 arms. And they wouldn't be Duran or Clase or any of the elite closers, obviously. Williams is your closer now, too, so you just got to leave him there for the rest of the season. I'm banking on Weaver getting right, and I'm going to get 2 arms. One of them's going to be good, not great, good, and one of them's going to be like, maybe we can fix this guy up pretty quick, the way they did with Clay Holmes.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping that Cruz comes back, or I'm hoping Tim Hill gets right because he hasn't been very good either, and he has not had good control.
You know, this isn't a team I would sell the farm for. Yeah, I know that's topic here. I cannot sell big-time prospects for this team. I know Fried has been great this year, and Rodon's had a good year, and obviously Judge, but there are too many flaws on this team for me to say I'm selling off Spencer Jones. I'm selling off, was it Cam Sittler? Sittler. I'm not selling these guys off. You know, you want to do it in the offseason when you're getting Garrett Cole back and you're going to have one of the best rotations in the league next season. That's fine. That's fine. With Judge fully healthy right now, and if Judge was out the whole year, oh my God, I would sell everybody I could.
Then it's rough if Judge is out the whole year. This is where I'm at with the Yankees, though. The most puzzling thing is I look at the lineup, and you can call me insane. This is probably the second best lineup they've put together in the Judge era, and I think it's better. It might be better than last year's, and the numbers back up that it's better than last year's. So would I rather? This is not a would I rather have Soto conversation either. This is just I think the lineup's pretty complete right now with the addition of McMahon. You finally have, well, I don't love the player. You finally have a third baseman. He's going to hit your bottom 3 every night. They finally have a lineup I feel like is pretty good top to bottom. And they are so bad defensively and with their pitching that I'm like, can you even fix it? Like, I want to say if you just get it together defensively, this is a really good team, but you can't just easily imagine that they're going to be a good defensive team the rest of the year after the deadline.
No, they're that bad. They're that bad defensively where it almost feels impossible they could fix all these issues by the end of the week.
Because if you take the Yankees roster at face value, this is another, paper doesn't win games conversation, but if you take it at face value on paper, and hypothetically they add Detmers and Bird, and you look at that bullpen, and maybe they add a guy like Charlie Morton, that's a lot of ads at the deadline too. It's 5 players at the deadline that you're getting, including Rosario and McMahon. But let's say they do that. They can definitely afford that at the deadline. So they add those guys. On paper, that is as good of a roster as you have had in the Aaron Judge era. But they're so bad defensively that you can't go there mentally.
Can they afford that? I mean, their farm system isn't that great.
No, but
can they afford that?
Their farm system is definitely good enough to get 2 4 ERA relievers and Charlie Morton.
Okay.
We're not talking about like getting crazy players.
I mean, you have guys at the top, but the most difficult part sometimes about trading prospects is when you don't have a middle. Yeah, that was the Mets issue in 22. They had these top guys that they weren't willing to trade and nobody in the middle.
The Yankees, what Cashman always does, another great conversation we had last week with Will Thompson on the show, but what Cashman has always done well is have a good stable of good enough prospects that you can get lower value guys at the deadline for. Like he always has, he's very good at replenishing the prospect pool to where it's never a top 15 group, but you always have 4 or 5, especially pitchers at every deadline where you're like, all right, we could move these 24-year-old, 23-year-old arms that have some value for players that could help us contribute for just a year. And then he finds a way to add those 4 or 5 arms back in the farm system over the next 2 seasons. So they do have enough guys to do that. But once again, does your team actually get better? Because if they're going to be making a severe amount of errors every night, and not able, I mean, last night was their first game yesterday was their first game since the prior Sunday without an error.
That's insane.
They went a week of making an error at least every single night. And most of the nights it was 2 or 3. That's how bad they are. So I don't know if that even gets me to the point where I'm like, yeah, this is a really, really good World Series team.
The American League is the wild card. Like I looked last night for the first time at the wild card stands. You're like, Texas is in this thing. Seattle just made a trade and they're not done. I mean, there are teams now in this American League wild card that are seriously making a push. And you made a video about it over the weekend. It's no guarantee that they make the playoffs. I mean, that is a serious concern. Is them actually making the playoffs. And I don't even believe in Toronto, but they're running away with the division somehow.
They're running away with this division right now. There's 4 teams in the wild card within a game and a half. And the Yankees are 6 back of, or 5.5 back of the division. So how do you sit here and tell me that they're definitely getting in? They're not.
You can't.
They're not definitely getting in.
These teams, Texas, you mentioned at the top, or before we started, they have 2 pitchers that could, in many years would be the top 2 in the AL Cy Young Award. Boston has played a lot better. We're going to talk about them. We've talked about them a lot. And again, Seattle just got Naylor, and I don't think they're done. I think they're going to go try and get Suarez too.
I think so too. Which then brings me to my Cashman question of the day. At what point do you start? And again, I don't know if it's this deadline. I wouldn't trade Jones or Lombard or LaGrange at this deadline.
No.
But at what point does he just say in this Judge era, like when does he just Dave Dombrowski this and
Next
say
season.
like, it's got to be because, or it has to be in the offseason because he's traded 2 top 5 prospects in a decade. 2017 to get David Robertson and Todd Frazier from the White Sox. And in 2022 to get Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino from the A's. And those trades, one of them was a disaster, the Montas trade. And the Robertson trade was a really good one. It definitely played a role in them getting to Game 7 of the ALCS in a year where they were probably the 4th best team, 5th best team coming into the season in the AL.
Mm-hmm.
So that one worked out. But now that Judge is 33, at what point do you just say, let's go for it and lose a little bit of value on a Spencer Jones trade? Because think of all the guys they didn't trade, Mike. This is my biggest gripe with Cashman. Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, Peraza, Pereira, Estevan Florial, all of these players who did not work out as pros, who had value at one time as a prospect. You didn't trade any of them.
Yeah, it has to be in the offseason. It has to be next season. It's funny. I didn't realize John Sterling was doing a radio show on WABC,
ABC,
and I saw it on TikTok last night, and he was talking about the potential rotation for next year. I mean, that potential rotation next year, and not everybody's going to be healthy at the same time, but the list of guys that could be there: Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Cam Schiller, however you say the name, Will Warren, Luis Seal, Clark Schmidt. Like, that is 7 deep of guys that would start in any rotation in the league. Next season is the year where you say, okay, we're going for it.
And next season, you're going to go into the year, barring something unforeseen in the last 2 months of this season, where all 6 of those guys are healthy.
Yep.
Cole's going to be healthy whether it's in April or May next year. He's going to be healthy. Schmidt's probably going to miss the entire season, but Heel's going to be good. Warren's going to be good. All these guys you imagine will be good.
Right.
So you're right. That's the year.
Right. I forgot Schmidt's had the Tommy John surgery.
Yeah. It's the year to go in on bullpen. It's the year to go in on your lineup. You re-sign Bellinger. You already have McMahon now for another couple of years, which is why I was surprised at that deal. I didn't think they were going to go for a controlled guy like that. And you're attaching yourself to 2 years, $32 million, and Ryan McMahon.
Future of the Yankees, Ryan McMahon.
Future of the Yankees, Ryan McMahon. And they're already getting huge returns in the first 2 games he's played. But, huge. I mean, they were just so bad there that him giving them the little bit that he was able to, an actual productive hit.
Anything defensively.
Hit. And the one thing I did not know about McMahon was how good his arm was.
Yeah,
he has a gun.
He's unbelievable over there. He's one of the best defensive. I mean, you know it now. He's one of the best defensive third basemen in the entire league. He's great. I've watched a lot of Colorado Rocky games where the Mets are playing over there, and he does something at third and steals a run or something like that. He's great.
Yeah, Giuseppe's guy too.
Yep.
From him.
Shout out, happy birthday to him. He big day for his Rockies trading McMahon.
Yeah, 21st birthday yesterday. Rockies trade McMahon. Bittersweet weekend for him.
Yeah, tough.
For sure. Let me see. Do I have anything else Yankees wise? Not really, but Rosario trade I liked. So
good to get him back in New York.
Get him back.
That's huge. I mean, that's
bring the guy home. That was a nice move. I thought they needed to get a guy like that, utility backup, play almost every day, anyways. Yeah, and now puts a little bit of pressure on Volpe too.
Yep.
Finally, they have a competitive shortstop to put pressure on Volpe.
Get him at short. Let's go. Let's get him in.
Defensively, it could get scary, but we're here for it. It's already scary defensively.
Let's really bad. Can't get worse than this.
Do you want to jump into buyers or sellers, or do you want to do go through the players that might get traded here?
Let's do buyers or sellers here.
All right. Buyers or sellers. We're going to go through teams. I'll list off a couple of the contenders, and we will see if Mike thinks they're buyers or sellers. Love a conversation about all of them, too. Anyways, but 2 weeks ago, when we did our last show, I said that there could be 16 teams buying in this market. That did not include the Texas Rangers. That did not include it did include the San Francisco Giants. Now we will run through it again and see who we think should be buyers and sellers. We'll start in the American League, go through all 3 of the division leaders, obvious buyers, right? Blue Jays, Tigers, Astros. On the division leaders, I'll ask this for the NL too in a few minutes. How aggressive do you think each team should be?
I think Detroit has to be extremely aggressive along with the Astros. They've had an interesting year, Houston, where they lose Tucker. You haven't gotten much from Jordan, and they've had such a great year. The pitching's good. They're trying to look for another infielder. You heard Buster Olney say 17 times yesterday on the Sunday night broadcast that they've spoken to the Mets about one of their infielders. So they need to add trying, in this Altuve era here with Valdez and Hunter Brown pitching so well. It's important for them to go by. Same thing with Detroit. You only have Screwball for another year and a half. You got to try and win.
What'd you think of? It was either only a Rosenthal said it 2 weeks ago. It was only the Schoolbowl comment. He's going to get $400 million. The question is whether it's from the Yankees, Dodgers, or Mets.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that comment by him?
It's unfair, but at the end of the day, you have to look at things realistically and say, okay, is Detroit going to pony up that kind of money? The Mets and the Dodgers, if there's a need, and the Yankees, of course. If there is a need at that time, I don't know if it's going to be there for the Yankees. I don't know if it's going to be there for the Mets or the Dodgers. But if it is, they're going to be interested.
Mm-hmm. And then either way, you'll have the other teams, Phillies, Rangers, Mariners, somebody that'll jump in and say Boston.
I'm going to say he stays, though. I think they're going to get close enough where he stays. I do.
That's going to be interesting to see over the next 2 years, for sure. All right. Wild card teams in the AL. Yankees, buyers, sellers, how aggressive should they be?
Soft buy. I not an aggressive buy, a soft buy.
Red Sox?
They should buy. They should buy. I like a lot. I like what they can do.
Mariners?
I mean, they've already started, so why not continue? The rotation is so good. If they could get into a postseason series, especially with Munoz at the back end, if they could hit with that pitching staff, they could be very dangerous.
The new guys in the mix, 6-game win streak, 9-1 over their last 10 games. Texas Rangers, 56-50. Got to buy.
You have to. With DeGrom and Evaldi, the two old heads at the top, you got to buy. Have to buy.
And Bochy, we're all in this short window of Texas Rangers baseball. How about the Tampa Bay Rays, 53-53 now, starting to hit that slide?
They've hit that slide. Wrong about my Rays here. I would sell whatever I could. I don't think they have much. I wouldn't sell much of the pitching, but I would sell.
The most interesting team right now in the AL, I think, in terms of will they get rid of their pieces, last team we'll mention here in the American League is the Guardians. Obviously not a buyer at 52-53. They're 3.5 games out, but do they sell as aggressively as people thought they maybe would 2 weeks ago?
I don't think so. Listen, this is a team that has done some weird things at the deadline. They've bought and sold at the same time. I don't think they're going to completely sell, but a couple of pieces could be moved.
All right, and now the NL. We have the division leaders. Right now we have a tie in the Central, but we'll go through all 4 teams.
Yeah.
Cubs, Brewers, Mets, Dodgers. This is different from the AL because you can justify all of these teams as aggressive buyers.
They are. You made a video about the Cubs a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was great. They have to be so aggressive here. They have to be as aggressive as possible because you don't know, and there's a good chance you're not bringing Kyle Tucker back because your owner's cheap. So they have to be super aggressive at this deadline. They have a good pitching staff. I'd be shocked if they were super aggressive, but they have to be. And the same thing with the Brewers. They're going to be in an arms race with this team, and the Brewers make a ton of sense for Eugenio Suarez. So do the Cubs, though. It'll be interesting to see who makes that move. If the Brewers are able to add Suarez, they become one of the most dangerous teams, if not the most dangerous team in the National League.
Yeah, the Brewers 62-43 right now, tied for the top seed and the NL Central lead. Both them and the Cubs have the same record. But the Cubs, I would be worried. I made that video, but I would be worried if I was a fan because you could look at it 2 ways. You could look at it as we're all in this year because we might lose Tucker, or I think ownership might turn around and say, we might lose Tucker, so I don't want to lose any more young guys going after Suarez, going after top players, going after a top pitcher, because I'm really worried that we're going to be sitting here a year from now where PCA is our only marketable player and we're losing all of our young guys in a year that we didn't win the World Series.
How crazy is it with the Dodgers, too? Where we thought this team was going to win 105, 106 games, maybe 110, and they have serious issues. Their pitching isn't as great. They've dealt with a lot of injury. They're going to get a couple of guys back, but the bullpen hasn't been good. Tanner Scott's been bad. He's hurt now. They have just had issues with that pitching staff all year, and they're going to get guys back, but is it enough? They're going to have to add some bullpen pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. How about the wild card teams here? Phillies, Padres, Reds are knocking on the door. What do you think, buyers or sellers in this region?
Obviously, Phillies and Padres are going to buy. The Reds, I think I'd buy a little bit. Soft buy. I wouldn't sell. If I was the Reds. You're a game out of a playoff spot here. I would not sell, but it's very interesting. Very interesting.
What about the Giants?
Giants have to full sell. Whatever I could sell, sell off.
Yeah, you got to be looking to the future for the Giants because you have the long-term contracts tied up. You want to make sure you can get some guys around the players you've acquired because now the Giants have acquired their faces of the franchise. They've been trying for years now, and they do finally have Devers. They have Adames, but you have Logan Webb. Now you have to really put the pieces around those guys and supplement what they don't give you. You have to sell at this deadline because even if you get into the postseason, you're not a World Series team. You have to be acknowledging that. And they're not going to get into the postseason. I'd be shocked if they did.
How about the Miami Marlins?
I was just going to ask them. 4 games under.
How interesting
They're an interesting team because the Marlins, there has to be a little bit of an initiative here. We know we're probably not getting into the playoffs, but we want this to be a memorable season, maybe go above 500. That would be a big win for the Marlins this year. So you don't want to sell off right now just because you look at the record. It's an interesting team.
Yeah, I don't think what are they going to completely sell off here? I think, especially offensively, what would you fully be selling off? I don't think it's much. It's more of that pitching staff, and if you sell Alcantara, okay, how big of a loss is that going to be? He's got a negative 1.6 WAR this year, so they have some young pitching. That is, Yuri Perez has been good. Obviously, Edward Cabrera has been really good. So I think they're going to be just fine going forward. They're interesting, man. I don't know what this is. I don't know how they're doing it, but is the future bright in Miami? Is that a thing?
It might be a thing. And then you look at the standings, in between them, it's the Diamondbacks. They're obviously sellers. They've made that very, very known. Yeah. The Cardinals are interesting to see how aggressive they go either way.
They're going to sell big. They're going to trade Helsley and a couple of other pieces there. They'll shop Arenado again.
Donovan's your biggest trade chip. Will you get rid of him? Are you willing to do that? We'll see. What return can you get? But then the Braves too. Where are the Braves in this? Because they have pieces you can sell, and they're obviously out of it. 16 games under 500 now. 12 games out of the wild card. But you have pieces you can sell, but you have pieces you can also keep to try and compete next year. They're the best team of the bad teams.
That's a lot. They have a lot of pieces, 100%, that I think they're going to try and keep. I think Ozuna on an expiring contract I would get rid of if somebody called. Before Sale got hurt, I never understood them trying to keep Sale. I would have sold Sale at his highest peak, which if he was pitching as he was prior to getting injured, I would have absolutely traded him, and they were not interested at all. I don't know. It's very interesting what they're trying to do there. They're trying to thread this needle of some sort. I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to buy, a young piece and, for next season, if that became available.
Yep. I'd agree with that. That's it for buyers and sellers. Nothing else there. Let's real quick run through the potential guys that could get traded. I'm going to use Jeff Passan's list here, and then if we miss anybody, we'll bring it up. But Passan's list from last week starts with Suarez, 90% chance of trade. I think we're all in the same boat of Suarez getting traded. Question is just where.
Yep. I think Milwaukee ponies up and makes the move.
Okay, Milwaukee. I think that it's going to be, Chicago maybe jumps in and does this and just decides to go for it. It's been a while since the Cubs went for it, and I think maybe this is the year, but I could see Milwaukee doing it too. It's going to be one of those two teams, I think. I don't think Seattle ends up actually pulling the trigger here.
Are we writing these down? We're gonna make
Yeah, we can write these down. Okay. So I'm gonna go with Milwaukee also on Suarez.
So we're the same.
We're the same there. Joe Ryan, I think, is a no trade.
I can't find a book. Yes, I would agree. I don't think they trade Ryan. There's too many years of control. He's too good of a player. I don't think they trade him.
How about Mackenzie Gore? This is interesting that this exists.
Yes. I don't think he gets moved whatsoever. I would not trade him. I wouldn't move him. And it's actually sad that it's a consideration.
I've seen now 2 different reporters link the Yankees to Mackenzie Gore, which I'm sure there's interest there on the Yankees side. He's the type of guy that you'd want to give up a Spencer Jones for, or you'd be willing to give up a top prospect for because of the years that you're going to get. You give anybody.
You give him Lombard and
exactly.
Jones.
You give him whoever. And the Nationals don't have a GM right now, so you could just take whatever nerd that got the job to the woodshed.
I don't know how ownership would allow them to actually shop him.
Yeah, that would be insane. Unless the acting
interim
GM
GM.
right now that stepped up, they know he's going to be their guy next year.
Yeah.
That's just insane. All right, Dylan Cease. We spoke about him a lot today, but we both think not going to get traded.
Yeah, I don't think Cease gets moved. I think that would be weird.
Stephen Kwan.
I think Stephen Kwan is a Dodger.
Wow, so you think he gets moved?
I think him and Clase get moved in a blockbuster deal.
I think Kwan stays in Cleveland.
Okay. I think Clase, I think that's the big move they make. That's the big one move they make. They'll sell those guys off. They'll get a big prospect load back, and those are the only moves they make.
Jaron Duran, 25% chance of trade as of last week on Jeff Passan's
No trade
article.
on Duran.
Yeah, I'm going to go no trade. Also, Yohan Duran from Minnesota, 30% chance of trade. I think Duran is the Dodger.
You think Duran is the Dodger?
Yes.
I think he could be a Philly. I think if Philly gets aggressive, that's the move they make. I'll say Phillies, but
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure he gets moved.
Okay, Clase. Think
I
he's
said
staying in
Dodgers.
Cleveland also. I think he's going to stay in Cleveland also.
I say Dodgers.
I think Cleveland's going to really disappoint with their deadline this week with not selling guys. But I do think Cade Smith will be a Philly.
Okay.
He's going to be my Philly reliever. They need
Okay.
2 or 3 there also.
They need two relievers, and they need a platoon bench guy to replace Kepler, who's just been awful.
How about Griffin Jacks?
I think Griffin Jacks, I said it before, I think he's a Met.
I'm going to go a little abstract here and go Rangers.
Rangers. Okay.
Merrill Kelly, Met.
You think he's a Met?
I'm going Met. Another guy that's probably definitely getting moved.
He's definitely getting moved. I just don't know where. I don't know if it's going to be the Mets. I don't know if they pony it up. I don't know if they could pony it up.
I think this is going to be the Mets' big splash.
I think the Blue
Biggest
Jays.
splash.
I go Blue Jays.
Okay, Blue Jays. Mitch Keller, what do we think? Does he get moved?
Yeah, Mitch Keller gets moved. I will say he is I was going to say the Yankees, but I don't think that makes sense going forward. I'll say Mitch Keller is a Padre.
All right, Padres. Well, I'm going to go Red Sox. I think that Breslow's going to see that he's got the young core intact right now. He sees it, and he can give up that next level of prospects that they have. We've already said Cabrera and Alcantara we think are going to stay.
I'm actually going to switch Keller. I think the Giants make a very interesting move, and it's more of a next year kind of buy, but the Giants make the swing for Keller. Even though they should sell, and I think they will sell some pieces, they will make the trade for Keller.
Probably the best bat left available after Suarez, now that Naylor's gone, is Ryan O'Hearn. What do you think here? This is a tougher one, O'Hearn, but I think it's probably going to be one of the Texas teams, whether that's the Astros or the Rangers. I'll go Astros. Admit their mistake on the Walker signing. Didn't work out. They go for the cheap bat and O'Hearn for the year.
Now, O'Hearn, I think, can go to... He can play first, correct? He's DHing right now, but he can play first.
Yep.
Interesting, because I think he would go to the loser of the Cubs-Brewers.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
But who's DHing for the Cubs right now would be my only question. Let's see here. Because then I might switch it and go Cubs to... Because O'Hearn makes perfect sense to be a Brewer.
Well, Cubs DH is almost everyday Suzuki. But you have the flexibility there. But Happ, you want... DH is tough for the Cubs because you have Bush at first, Tucker, Suzuki, PCA, and Happ that you're trying to get all of them in the game.
All right, we're going to switch Suarez.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm going to say O'Hearn's a Brewer. And I'm going to say that Suarez is a Cub.
All right, I'm going to say O'Hearn to Houston in a surprise.
Okay.
How about David Bednar? I'm going Blue Jays there. For some reason, I've been feeling this for a week or two that he's got Blue Jay written all over him.
David Bednar. I mean, he has been rumored to be moved how many times? His value has dropped so much, but he's been great the last month or so here. I'll say that's one of the moves the Dodgers make as well.
Yeah.
They're going to need a couple of relievers here.
I'm going to just sift through these guys here. Fairbanks, I don't think is going to get moved in Tampa. He's got a shot to get moved. That would be, for me, that would be like a Phillies or Tigers thing, but I don't think that he's going to get moved. Bieber, maybe Cleveland finally parts ways, but he hasn't pitched.
No.
So pass on him. How about Taylor Ward and Luis Robert, two of the outfielders here?
Robert, I think, is a Philly. And what was the other player? I'm sorry.
Taylor Ward. He's got a year of control after this one, too.
I don't think they move Ward yet.
Okay. Robert, I'm going to say this is the Cincinnati player they rolled the dice on. It's a couple million more for the rest of the year. They can opt out after the season. They need an outfielder. I agree with Ward, though. I don't think he's going to get moved. Arenado, I can't see them moving him at this point.
No, it's probably too difficult.
I think he's a Cardinal for the rest of that contract.
Yeah.
Ozuna.
I mean, the Padres were aggressive in their talks earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That probably, if I'm going to pick a team to move him, yeah, I'll say the Padres. Gavin Sheets hasn't done a bad job, but if he gets moved, it'll be to the Padres.
I'm going to say here that, let me just double check these stats quick. Oh, never mind. Because he's really got a DH. Padres, yeah, I'll buy in on the Padres smoke.
They could use another bat. They could really use another bat.
They need another bat. I don't think Adolis Garcia gets moved at this point. I know he would have been a candidate for it if they weren't, but Reed Detmers, Yankee, my guy. This is my campaign that I have to push. Reed Detmers to the New York Yankees.
All right. I mean, I don't feel strongly about Reed Detmers as you do, but that's fine. That's fine.
Reed Detmers, Yankees, done deal.
I'll agree with you. I'll write that down since you
Charlie
feel so
Morton,
strongly about it.
Charlie Morton, who's become one of the most surprising chips of the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think he's a Met. I think that's the Mets move.
Let's go, Mets. I already gave him Kelly.
Yeah, you can't do that. I can't believe you gave him Kelly. It's a nice move. I'd be really happy. I think it's Morton.
Let's go. This is tough on Morton. If you're not putting him to the Mets, it's such a Mets fit. But I don't think they would get Kelly and Morton.
Yeah. Well, the Blue Jays are getting aggressive for Kelly.
Let's go. Let's go Padres. Maybe they move Cease. Maybe they go get Morton. Adrian Hafner. I was starting pitcher, definitely going to get traded. Who cares?
I have no comment.
Blue Jays. Just throw it in Blue Jays. How about Mullins? Cedric Mullins here.
I don't think he gets moved.
Okay, you think they're going to?
Oh, he's a free agent. He's a free agent.
Yes.
He's probably not going to. They're probably not going to keep him then.
No.
Does Detroit need a center fielder? Riley Green's playing right field.
Well,
no, Baez has been playing center.
Yeah.
I think he stopped playing center though.
Okay. Let's see.
Parker Meadows. I think
Passan's best fit. Passan's best fitty list is the Phillies.
Yeah, but I have them getting Robert, so I can't go Phillies.
Oh, that's true. But who are they taking out of the lineup if they get who? Marsh?
Max Kepler. Marsh.
Oh yeah, Kepler.
Terrible.
Kepler's out there. Yeah, no.
Terrible. Mullins Tigers.
Mullins. Phillies. He would fit the Phillies though. He'd fit the park.
Go Phillies.
Phillies. And Willie Castro is the last of the top 30.
Makes sense for the Yanks, but they already got Ahmed, their guy. So
I think this would be Seattle's second bat, even though it's another.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Seattle second bat. Good utility guy. I think Seattle's gonna make a move for another quality bat, but it's not gonna be Suarez.
Can he play short?
Yeah, he can play. He's played everywhere in
Tigers
the infield except third and catcher.
The Tigers could use him because they don't have a shortstop.
Tigers could use him. But would he get moved in division? How much is Minnesota helping Detroit this year? Maybe a little bit because they're not going to be in the playoffs, but I'll go Detroit. I don't think they'd have to pay much of a tax on that.
And I'll say Texas.
All right. That's it in the top 30. Really nobody else outside of that I need to discuss.
I mean, you were bringing up Adrian Hauser. I was getting lost there.
Yeah, once you get to the Hauser
It's like,
list.
what are we doing here?
That's bad. All right, well, that's it for today then. That's all I got today.
That was a great app. Long app.
As always, episode 66. Good to be back. Appreciate you guys listening. You could always check out the podcast afterwards on Spotify or on Apple.
Thursday, we're thinking, right?
Yep.
Deadline day.
Thursday, I'm going to be away this week. Mike's definitely going to do something. I'm hoping to be there, hoping Wi-Fi holds up. I'm bringing my mic. I'm bringing my laptop. So we'll hopefully get something for Thursday. Deadline Thursday at 6. Expect the Yankees and Mets to each make at least one more move of substance this week.
Yep.
And we'll be back next week, later in the week again, and then we'll recap the deadline too at some point, either right after the weekend or right before the weekend.
Yep.
So make sure check out No Good Takes, Giuseppe Oliveri. He's going to be doing a recording or two this week. You have The Bunker. I'm probably not going to do any this week, but we did a great episode with Will Thompson last week, which holds up well this week. A lot of trade deadline stuff, a lot of prospect stuff, especially for the Yankees fans and Mets fans. You had Alvarez. We didn't talk about Alvarez today.
Yeah.
He praised Alvarez. So you get good stuff on both sides of New York and around the league a little bit.
We'll have him mic'd up at some point this week to break it up before we do another Burrows on Thursday.
And of course, make sure to follow Gabe at the Playbook for New York sports short form content on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you later in the week on Thursday.